Welcome back to the Nerdrotic Podcast. This is a special Nerdrotic recap of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. My name is Gary Buechler. I am one of the hosts at nerdrotic.com. I'm in San Francisco, California. Let's go around the horn here. And down in San Diego, we have Dennis Bithoulkas. And up in Tahoe now, we have Jon Reed. What's up, guys?
Doing good. How about you?
I am excellent. I am pumped.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I drove all the way to Reno today to see this movie, so that's how much I wanted to see this one and talk about it with you guys tonight. But yeah, I'm excited, man. I love these spoiler casts because we get to just sit around and talk about a fun movie that I'm guessing we all at least enjoyed on some level for like an hour. Like this is what you want to do with your friends. This is what we like to do. Hopefully we have some insights here, but really it's just fun to get out of a movie and talk about it with your friends, right?
Well, hey, when San Francisco was affordable and we could all live here together, we used to do this together, back in the Comic Outpost days, and now we have to do it. Thank God for the internet, or thank whatever, goddess, or whatever. I just wanted to say really quick, John's commitment for this. He was supposed to go to Tahoe. He's doing some wedding stuff. Excuse me. And he drove up a day early so he could do this podcast. That is effing commitment that I love.
Yeah, I took an extra 2 days remotely from work and drove up a day and a half early so that I could see and talk about it with you guys before Dennis was gone for the weekend. So look, this was one of the movies that I was most excited about, so I was basically willing to do whatever to make this happen.
And Dennis, I don't want to forget you. Dennis's commitment. He's got a road trip to Vegas tomorrow. I know it's really hard, but he's staying up late before he's doing that awful drive from San Diego to Vegas, which is just nothing but and traffic. So thanks, guys, for doing this, because I'm in the comfort of my home right now. So let's get to it, man. This movie was rad and emotional and a lot of unexpected stuff. And Dennis, you're going to have to help me with, I know I missed a bunch of Easter eggs. So let's start real quick with Dennis. Dennis, what did you notice?
Well, of course, Howard the Duck. We got Howard the Duck back again, which was awesome.
Yep.
We got the Watchers. With Stan Lee as correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, there is an astronaut in Marvel Comics that does hang out with the Watchers at one point.
I think it was Aaron Stack, right? It was the original Human Torch is up there, isn't he?
I think so, and I think that's kind of what they were doing with Stan Lee on that one. And then of course there's the original 1960s Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Which was awesome, completely awesome, because I'm a huge fan of the 90s version of Guardians of the Galaxy that came out in 94, and the whole crew was there.
The entire crew was there. That was unbelievable. Yeah, because
we had Mantis.
Yep. Yeah,
that was the deepest Marvel cut I've seen in all the movies.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, hearing the grumblings about the reviews previous to this, where everyone's going, oh, it's not a great Marvel movie, it's Marvel's first stumble, blah blah blah, and all this kind of bullshit. This is actually, if anything, this is an extension of the first movie. For me, it was kind of like an extra disc of stuff, and it was a 2 hour and 15-minute long movie. Didn't feel like 2 hours and 15 minutes. It went by fast. Really, really fast. I mean, we had Ego the Living Planet with his face on the planet, which was awesome. Kurt Russell's face. God, what else do we have? We had Mantis, as John was saying.
Do we want to save the end credit scenes till later, or can we bring because
you bring them up? I mean,
yeah, I had a question for you. So the biggest one to me was Adam, right? Like, who is Adam? What's that pod? That's Adam Warlock.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah. That's so crazy.
Yeah, that's why when she said, that's why they have the gold faces, and Adam Warlock is gold. That's his skin coloring. So that when I saw them, and I was like, okay, this is how, and they were talking about the DNA, the perfection, and everything. I'm like, oh, this is how he's going to bring Adam Warlock in. I kind of knew where he was going with that, and sure enough, when they did that, I'm going to call him Adam. Everyone in the theater actually cheered that I was in. So that was awesome. Yeah.
What
And
about you, John? Oh, go on. Sorry.
sorry. I'm trying to think of what else I remember. You know, Taserface. Taserface is also a Marvel Comics villain, which was really funny. The way they brought him in as well. And also, I just gotta say, going back to the Guardians of the Galaxy, the original crew, my two favorite originals were Charlie 27, which is played by Ving Rhames, and Martin X, which was Michael Rosenbaum, which I thought was awesome. They brought both of those in.
Oh, dude. Well, yeah. Who? Okay, was that Ving Rhames? That was Ving Rhames.
That was Ving Rhames. Yeah, that was Ving Rhames. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm like, why was that not registering me? And what a perfect casting choice for that too.
Yes.
Yeah. And they made him a little bit bigger than everyone else.
A lot bigger.
Huge.
A lot bigger. And did you? Okay, I'm totally spacing on that BBC show that everybody freaking liked that I didn't see. And
Misfits.
No, not the Misfits. Oh God, I'm sorry. It's one of the Sovereign guys was from the show, and it's
okay. Ben Browder, actually. He was from
Ben Browder.
Yeah, he was the one that was on Sci-Fi Channel. It was a really popular show, and I'm blanking on it.
It's late. Anyway. We're doing we are doing this at 11 o'clock right afterwards. I'm at the.
I've got a cup of tea over here to keep my synapses firing at anywhere near normal. This is Guardians Podcasting After Dark.
Farscape is the name of the
Farscape. Thank you. God damn, he's been in Doctor Who as well. So yeah, Farscape, of course. And James Gunn is a huge Farscape fan, and it was cool. He would have been a good Warlock, I thought, but I like how they retcon that a little bit, because the original Cocoon at the Collector's Cave was Warlock's Cocoon, and then they later on James Gunn's all, nope, that's not it. It kind of sucks they're bringing him in this late in the game because he's so important with the Infinity Gauntlet, but oh well. And there was they do kind of, in this movie they very subtly made Thanos like a little more evil, actually a lot more evil, because he likes to run around and pluck little girls and mutilate them. And that's something he does right in the comics, but they never like point out that this psychopath is mutilating little girls, like particularly little girls, which is like a whole new layer. I mean, it's horrible, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't make this, it makes this big galactic bad guy like even more sinister. Like, he's not just some megalomaniac who wants to take over the universe. Actually wants to destroy it.
You also have them with Ego. Ego is celestial as well. And what he's doing, he's going out and populating the universe with his progeny, because he's looking for a living battery, is basically what he's looking for. So just as evil as Thanos.
Oh, yeah. And they kind of make you see that even though he was down at the human level, like these guys, like they just see it like insect life. So, and he was lonely. And it made him insane. And we still don't know how. I would love to hear eventually how the Celestials got created. That would be nice to explain that. But
remember, they talked about eternity.
Yes, they did.
That was the other thing too. And you see eternity in Peter's eyes for just a second. I don't know if you saw the light on the edge of his eye, and that was eternity, which I thought was actually really cool. The way that
I missed that completely. I don't know. John, what are your thoughts? What are your favorite moments?
So I really like this movie. I kind of felt similarly to Dennis, where the reviews I took the reviews a little differently than him. Like, from everything I read, it was just like, this is a funny but mediocre movie, right? Like, it was getting a lot of like 7 out of 10s, right? Like, it's fun, it's good, but it's not great. And going into it, I don't understand that, because the soundtrack, I would say, isn't as good, and maybe if you liked the soundtrack of the first movie, that was maybe a letdown, but everything else to me was like exactly the same. Like, it was exactly as funny. I think it was prettier. I think this was probably the best looking movie I've ever seen in my life. Like, the colorscape, from the moment that the big monster at the beginning is like spewing like rainbow energy, and then like and then when they go to Ego the Living Planet and they're popping the bubbles and they're all different colors, and like the fireworks display during the funeral, like all of this stuff just looked fucking phenomenal. Like it was like nothing else. Like this is another, I feel like this is a mic drop on Marvel's part against the DC like lack of colorscape, where they're just like, here's a fucking rainbow for you guys to look at, look how pretty it is, you know. And so I first of all, that was the first thing that really struck me, is just how visually like stunning this movie is. And then secondly, there were characters from the first movie, like this really does work as a part one and a part two to me, where like the first movie was very centered on like Quill and Gamora, and you know, like they had like the core of the group that they centered on, whereas this movie, the character moments, to me the best character moments were like the Drax stuff, and I thought the Yondu stuff was some of the best stuff in this movie. And so like I loved when Yondu got his real fin in the movie, and just how badass he was with the arrow. That whole like scene that was reminiscent of them escaping from the jail, where they're taking back the ship after the mutiny and just killing all the mutineers, was just incredible look. Like it was just so cool. And so like I felt like this movie was basically just a continuation of the first movie in almost every single way. Like aside from, like I said, the music not being quite as good, it was visually more entertaining, it was just as funny, it was just as heartfelt. Everything that was good about the first one is still good about this. So anyone who says that they think Guardians 1 is like way better than Guardians 2, we're talking about, you know, incremental shifts in like probably how good the movies are. I would say some people might like this one a little bit more or a little bit less, but they're pretty much just, you know, the quality I think has been maintained, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And visually, I think this movie was better.
I would almost say that the second movie was actually the origin story compared to the first movie.
Yeah. Yes. You know? Yeah.
Kind of went backwards a little bit, which was kind of nice, you know?
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, this I mean, this is a great movie. Not that I can actually drug abuse is terrible, but if you're able to like pick it up and put it down, this is man, if you're like on acid in particular on this movie, this would have probably made you cry. It was so pretty, you know, with the color bubbles and Ego's planet, and you know, the surrealism of Nebula, or not Nebula, of God dang, I'm forgetting her name now. Mantis.
Gamora?
Thank you. Mantis was awesome. She was so fucking funny. Oh my god. And I think what happened was, where people will feel differently, is most people out there, sorry, you younger kids, you're all prisoner of the moment, which is, I mean, it's just going to get worse. I'm kind of frightened about that. Movies are going to be 5 minutes long and people are going to go dragged on too much for me. It missed a little bit on the opening credits, though. One of the best things about Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, is just that first 10 minutes is like a music video. Okay, a well done music video. You know, Peter Quill's little dance scene in the, you know, in the ancient structure where he goes and gets the Infinity Stone. The Groot dance was cute. It was funny. I love ELO. I love that song, Mr. Blue Sky. But I think it would have actually been better if they would have timed it to the fight more than him dancing, and maybe cut him in and not just stayed on him dancing. I get
something escaped from your,
something did not agree with you in the background, Carrie. Fighting back against those words.
That's Spider-Man 3 Black Spider-Man. And that's fine. God,
he's like, fuck you, Groot's my buddy. You cannot say anything wrong about Groot.
Groot was fine. I think that joke went on a little too long, and it actually, you don't want to take away from the credits too much. I hate to sound like that, but that's the only thing that kind of missed for me. But what you said, Dennis, it did not feel, I mean, you just shocked me by telling me it was 2 hours and 50 minutes long. I'm like, what? I walked out of there thinking it was a little short, and only I was in the movie theater for a long time because I watched a half an hour of really good trailers. But that would have been the only thing that missed. And you're right, the music is a little substandard, but yeah, the reviews, I think it's time a lot. did you notice that was one of my mentions to you guys? We have a thread on our Facebook that all three of us talk like every day, all day, about like just whatever hits our mind. And one of the things that bugged me the most was about American Gods, and this one was pre-written reviews, like reviews written before they even see the movie, because they're all sounding the same. Okay, so I know the studio sends bullet points out. I know the studio pays people to review things. Let's not be naive here. Okay, we're not one of them, but we'd be gladly be one of them if you want us to be.
Hey, you want us to review something for you?
Yeah,
nicely, we'll do it.
We'll do it. Say whatever you want. I don't care. But right now we are not on anybody's payroll, and we tell it like it is. And I really enjoyed this movie, but the reviews were sounding all the same, and it just sounded like a big quacking echo chamber to me. So I just stopped reading them. And yeah, I could, kind of like with Iron Fist and a couple other things recently, where Iron Fist wasn't great, I just totally disagreed with the reviews.
Also, John hit on something too with the color palette of this movie. Having the brighter colors coming out of Civil War, I think they're actually priming us for Thor Ragnarok, which is supposed to have like a huge burst of colors. And yes. I think it's by design. I mean, it looks like that's what they're doing. They're just kind of ramping up with the color. And
they're doing this disco theme for the upcoming slate of movies, I think. Yeah. And it's the Thor Ragnarok trailer is getting all the credit for that. But I think once people see this movie, they're going to see that this is the beginning.
Starting here, yeah.
There's actually a lot of things.
Actually, Doctor Strange. The Kirby the Kirby look of the end of Doctor Strange is probably really the beginning of this.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think there's definitely there's a paradigm shift in comic book movies. It's time. And at first, I agree with Dennis and John that it was an absolute reaction to DC, because that's what Marvel and DC do. And I kind of love that the rivalry has moved into movies. I wish it would go back into comics. I think that has a lot to do with it. I think the whole retro 80s thing is really kind of blowing up, and everything, like especially with the Thor Ragnarok title looking like an Atari game cover. And yeah, they are prepping us for that. But the color palette for Guardians was amazing too. But I think people did criticize Civil War in particular for being a little gray. And Winter Soldier, although I thought the aesthetic worked for Winter Soldier and Civil War really well.
Exactly.
But, I mean, and I think we are getting better resolution. We got 4K TV coming out now, so you can do more with color, and you don't have to hide your special effects as much in unfocusing and I mean, they did a lot. They hide the special effects now with color with motion blur. There's just tons of motion blur in this one. But it was still cool. I mean, things felt like they were moving. This movie was crazy. I mean, it was insane. I mean, there was crazy shit going on. I mean, planets building stuff and ships flying around, and Nebula's attack on Gamora was so badass. Like,
did you guys think North by Northwest when that happened? Do you think that was an homage? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love definitely. That she didn't pull up from the cave mouth. I mean, you just felt the hate.
Yeah, she's like smashing the ship through that cave, and she's just firing at her. And then when
Gamora picks up the fucking cannon, oh man, that was badass.
That was the shit. And I really think, I mean, Yondu did steal the show, but so did Karen Gillan. Karen Gillan was amazing in this, and I want more Nebula. I definitely want more Nebula. I mean, just the layers to her character, finding out how fucked up it was and how well she played her. Hats off to Amy Pond. Damn, she was good. She was good.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Dennis, I got a question. Yeah. Okay. Remember when Yondu and Rocket, by the way, the whole scenes between those two were fucking amazing. It was so emotional in this movie.
Yes, I cried a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. When they went through 700 spots of hyperspace and they were going by different planets, did you not? Okay, I saw a planet where like these two big aliens were beating the shit out of each other, and I thought Scar. That's the first thing I thought of was Planet Hulk.
Yeah, I don't know. It jumped by too fast for me on that one.
It kind of did. Now I heard Jeff Goldblum was supposed to be in this movie, but I didn't see him.
He was in the credits. He was in the credits dancing. He was one.
Oh, he was dancing in the credits. Okay.
Yeah. as his character in Thor Ragnarok.
As was Cosmo the dog. He was also in the credits in a button. That you cannot say that it's a cameo if they just show up in dancing in a credit scene.
Yeah.
Like that's not a real cameo.
And,
like
and
the David Hasselhoff cameo, that was a real cameo.
Plus, he sings a song at the end there too.
Yeah.
You know, I did miss the fact a little bit that I really do like. I hope they don't start getting away from the post-credit scene leading. They're saying they don't need to do this anymore, and I totally disagree. I think it's really cool to do a post-credit scene leading into the next movie.
Oh yeah.
Even if it's Spider-Man.
I missed that. I was waiting. I really did think that the last one was going to lead into something, and I was a little disappointed that, like, the Adam Warlock was to me the only real consequential post-credit scene. All the other ones were just kind of fun. Well, I guess the original Guardians. Sorry, Dennis. The original Guardians was also a big fucking deal. So how do you think they're going to do that? Like, how do you are they going to show up in other movies? Are they like what is that?
Yeah,
they've already said they were.
Yeah, they already said that they are going to expand it's the Marvel Cosmic Universe now at this point.
So are they going to have their own movie? Are we going to have like original Guardians versus new Guardians?
Yes.
That seems redundant in a way. I mean, not that I'm not excited. Don't get me wrong. I just it seems like a lot of obscure Guardian stuff at once, right?
Pick up Guardians 3000. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Oh, I've read all the Guardian stuff. Okay, I've read it all. In fact, I think I bought it all from Gary at one point.
No, it's the new stuff. It just came out 2015, I believe.
Oh, yeah, I've read all that too. I mean, I've read all the Guardian stuff.
Okay, because they have the two teams facing off against each other.
Yeah, in one story, though. Like, that's the thing is, it would make sense if they were like rival teams in the same movie.
It spun off into its own comic now. So they are existing in the same universe as the movie Guardians. Yes.
Well, I mean, I don't. Yeah, who knows what the fuck is going on with the comics? We'll keep this positive. You know what? Okay, when we get into Galaxy, though, for one, when I saw the Watchers, I'm like, duh. I mean, that's like I honestly haven't thought of them, and I'm like, we should have seen them sooner, and that could have been, you know, if they. I know they were kind of used as a joke, but I think introducing them is a big deal because I think that's how you can kind of narrate the whole Avengers movie. Because the Avengers, supposedly Avengers Infinity War is supposed to be a Thanos movie. And Avengers are going to appear in it. But it's going to be based on Thanos Quest. Which, if you read the comic of Thanos Quest, there are no Avengers in that. There's Celestials and Titans and shit. But
I know when the Watchers leave in the post-credit scene and Stan Lee's sitting there talking, it's kind of a joke that they're like tired of listening to him talk, but they're also going somewhere. So I think there might be something there. Like I could totally see them show up for the Infinity Gauntlet or the Infinity War, either one, both.
You know, Gary, actually, I want to ask you a question. There was a new title Marvel Studio opening sequence. What did you think of it?
The new one.
I mean, the new one.
It's the new one. I don't know. I like the comic one. I'm stuck on that.
It started with the comic though. It started with the comics.
It starts with the comics, but then it goes into the movie stuff. And you know why I don't like the movie stuff? Because it's like bad Photoshop art version of them. I mean, like show the real shots. And then if you want to do the comic thing, and then do it with all the movies you've done, like real scenes.
They did in this one,
but they still did the art. That's the only thing I don't like is the art. I mean, it's not bad art. It's good art. It doesn't look. It doesn't look the quality. It doesn't look cinematic. It looks like the starting of a video game.
Oh, because I thought they had changed it from the one previous that you really didn't like. Because this is a different one again.
They changed the sequence of it, but it still had the art. It showed like Black Panther. I mean, they showed different characters, but they still use this weird art that looks like Greg Hildebrand cards from the 90s. Remember those painted cards?
Yeah, remember those.
Cards, kids. I mean, it's not terrible. It's okay. But I also got distracted by my son when that was starting out. But
I'll be really, really happy if that's the worst thing Marvel Studios ever does is that logo. So, yeah.
Well, no, I mean, Marvel Studios isn't involved in the Inhumans, which we can talk about in the flagship.
Yeah.
Holy crap. We got a little bad news today or yesterday. Oh my God. But the emotion of this movie was rather unexpected. I heard it was emotional, and I hear people say that all the time, but I'm like, they're kind of wusses. But it was pretty emotional, and as a kid who was adopted, okay, it like tugged on my little heartstrings a little bit, a guy who's like, I never known my real father, right? So and I want I haven't asked Indigo about it. Indigo's my stepson. I'm sure he felt a little bit too. He's probably like, there's something by my dad. Never mind, And I love the whole like bringing dads into it. And actually, I guess Yondu wasn't the greatest dad in the world, but he turned out pretty cool, and it sucks that okay. By the way, we're assuming you watched this movie. We're gonna spoil the shit out of it. It's probably too late for that. But Yondu dies. I'm like, he's kind of too good of a character to kill. But his death was so great. But damn, you killed him.
Yeah. It's like Peter Quill, like
him back.
Peter Quill sees his biological father is like a megalomaniac asshole, and he has to essentially kill him, and then in killing him, his father, his adopted father, dies to like save him, and that's like Peter Quill's day. Like it just sucks. It was quite the gut punch there at the end, for sure.
And his dad crushed his Walkman. What a dick.
Yeah, I never really.
Yeah, what an asshole.
With his mom,
which was hilarious.
I thought that was actually pretty funny with because that's James Gunn's brother, by the way.
Yes,
who was there, and he's going. Apparently, you got this out of the junkyard. I guess on Earth they're listed in this thing. It holds 300 songs. And it's
Yondu's like second-hand guy is James Gunn's brother?
In real life.
Yeah.
John Gunn.
Oh my God, he also is Kurt in Gilmore Girls. He's like a really funny character in Gilmore Girls. That's crazy. That's a crazy connection. I never knew that. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. James Gunn seems to skirt the Whedonverse quite a bit. I wonder if like they're buds or something like that. They must be.
They
trade actors a lot.
Yeah. Well, they worked on worked with a lot of the same people. So yeah, they know a lot of the they go in the same circles.
Kind of like Sam Raimi and the Coen brothers.
Exactly. So Sean Gunn is his name, by the way.
Sean Gunn, yes.
So was there anything for you guys, like for me, like I loved the music in the first movie, and where like there were a couple good moments of the way music was used in this movie, it wasn't nearly as creative or interesting in my opinion. Like just how you were describing the opening credit scene of the first one versus this one, the way that they used the music in that and the credit scene like itself, and many times throughout the first movie, music was used in such a really creative way, the escape from the jail, that sort of stuff. I felt like that was a little bit of a letdown in this one, is just the music itself wasn't quite as recognizable or as like good, nostalgic, but also the use of the music itself wasn't as badass as the first movie. But I can't really think of anything else that I can really critique in this second movie. Was there anything for you guys that you didn't love, even if it was just nitpicky stuff? Because this is such a great movie. Like, it's hard for me to pinpoint anything that I'm like, maybe in time I'll be able to do it. But, a lot of people were pointing out that the pacing was a little off, but I didn't feel that. And anything for you guys that kind of fell short?
Gary, you want to go for
it? No, I'm trying to nitpick. A lot of people online were saying that Drax's stuff was going too long and wasn't funny, and I could not disagree more.
Hilarious.
I could not disagree more.
I honestly want to say that Dave Bautista this time around actually stole a lot of the.
He was great. I think that there was a lot of like sensitive people, I won't say names, out there who probably didn't like the fact he called her ugly. I don't think that's funny at all. I think that's a social construct that I don't agree with, and I shouldn't call people ugly. It's a fucking movie. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm pointing out one article I read. Somebody actually wrote that. Yeah. It's like, lighten up, man. Yeah. So I thought his shit was funny as hell. I love the Sovereign. I love the fact that they were video gaming their fucking ships.
Yeah.
That was like so goddamn. And then I love whoever the actress was. I love Paris Hilton was queen of the universe. I mean, I know it wasn't Paris, but she invoked her inner Paris Hilton and did a great job. And just the funniness of it, like
when they're
rolling the carpet. I mean, it was just funny.
That was Elizabeth Debicki is her name.
Yes. And it was like an entire race of stuck-up people from Glee, who are gold. And it's believable in this. And Rocket was the shit in this. And like he didn't even steal the show, but his moments were freaking rad. And I love that they finally showed him like beat the shit out of somebody with his fists. Not so bad with your gadgets, huh? Well, And Baby Groot. Let's talk about Baby Groot. Potentially could have been the let down, bring down of this movie, was done like with perfection.
Oh my God! When he started crying, when it was crushing in on him, and he started like crying, I was just like, "Oh, it's a little baby! Don't crush the baby!"
Exactly. My favorite scene is when they're jumping, doing all the jumps, and they finally stop, and they're just looking at him. He goes,
I got emotional when they were like torturing him and dumping beer on his head. I was like so pissed in that moment.
Fuck yeah! I mean, and then I was kind of wishing Rocket would get a little more pissed about it. Well, I guess he did. He did help kill them all. And the Taserface stuff was so great. Of dealing with lame comic book names. And the guys, you can't blame the poor guys who come up with these, like, because they're like, you need to make a villain, you got 5 minutes, go. I see a taser and a face. Taser face, okay. Okay, here's my biggest nitpick, ladies and gentlemen. At the end credits, there's like all these names, and they're just fucking everywhere. And you know what? Steve Englehart and Jim Starlin's name, just two in particular, deserve to be 10 foot by 10 foot. Okay, they did not. I'm sorry to get full on nerd, but those two guys are the main reason you're seeing all these galactic characters. I mean, all of them are from those two guys' brains. And yes, there's other people, but the main guiding force behind that, who is a San Francisco resident, Steve Englehart, and friend of Bill Selby, and has been to my shop and is a very nice man, who's also written some great Batman. And Jim Starlin, who has also written some great Batman with Steve Englehart, that shows you how versatile comics guys these are. Because a lot of times galactic guys can't do the street level stuff. And one of Batman's best runs in the 80s, right after the first Batman movie came out, was Steve Englehart and Jim Starlin. And these are the guys that created Adam Warlock, the Sovereign, Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, everything. Star-Lord. That's Starlin, right? So
can I ask you guys a question? Speaking of like cameo type stuff, or like credit, the two during the like montage of Ego's like bubble essence taking over planets, there's one where there's two guys in a blue car that gets like pushed over, and like they kind of go in on them and they say something. I think there's like a black chick, or I don't know, there were two people in the car. Do you guys know if they were like or if those were cameos, or was that just really random?
Peter Quill's grandpa from the first movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he was dancing in the credit scenes too. And I only know that because Tim Dyer, who I watched the movie with, pointed it out, because I missed a lot. I mean, there was tons of Easter eggs, and I'm gonna have to go watch other videos who get paid lots of money to dissect this shit and see this stuff early, and we're gonna have to go watch those.
Well, I love these just impressions one, because we're going to look back on this video after we've seen the movie like a dozen times and have completely different thoughts on a lot of this stuff. Like we're going to be like, yeah, there was stuff we could have said, like the middle did kind of drag, like we're going to have things at a certain point, but like right now, just the visceral experience of watching this, just like I said, it's just, I don't think I've seen a prettier movie ever. And I think that has kind of taken over my brain. Like, it's just like, oh, pretty, like this is so cool.
One of my favorite end scenes, one of the end credits, was Teenage Groot.
Yeah, what do you guys think of that?
Sorry, Screenager. Screenager. I love that.
I don't know how I feel about that, because
you don't have teenagers.
I'm not a parent. Right. That's the thing, is like I've been a teenager. I don't have a teenager. And like baby Groot is cute and like really easy to root for, and like older Groot's like really badass and just kicks the shit out of everybody and makes big cocoons and saves everyone's lives. Teenage Groot's just going to be a little asshole. So like, do we really want Groot to be an asshole?
John, you just described why everybody puts up with teenagers, because we know at one time they were really cute, and at some point they might turn out to be a badass or a cool or a kind person or a complete shithead. I don't know. But when you look at your teenager as a parent, you just go, you could look at the little baby pictures and you go, oh, look at my little Buddha guy right there. And look at that big, smelly, fucking hairy thing sitting in the room stretching his balls.
Clean up your room, Groot. I love how there's like leaves all over the room, like instead of clothes. So great.
Oh, and the whole thing when he's talking back to him, I am Groot. Like that.
Yeah.
He goes, now I know what happened. Now I know how Yondu felt.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't Vin Diesel like in costume as one of the other Guardians too, or something like that? I thought I heard that somewhere.
Rob Zombie was as one of the Ravagers.
Yeah, I saw that.
And,
the unseen Ravager.
The unseen Ravager. Yes, he knows James Gunn from something. I forget exactly what happened. And so he's been in every single James Gunn movie.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, he came back as a unseen Ravager.
You know what I think I missed from this movie? I think I've pinpointed something I missed from this movie. The collector scene, like the colorful, extravagant, the underbelly of the smuggler aspect of the series, right? Like the Han Solo-ness of it. Like this went very big and very like family. Like this was very Firefly, and it was missing a little bit of the
grunge,
smuggler.
Yeah. Well, the reason why the grunge wasn't there, and they explained it, is because they have now moved up in the world. They are no longer the bottom rung.
I missed that. I missed it a little bit.
Well, but Rocket still brings them back. I think one of the best, and I'm no hyperbole here, one of the best cinematic scenes in film was when they went inside the Celestial's head, and that scene did so much. It went full on Star Wars by making your world ancient. Okay, and that makes us feel like, because our world is ancient. I mean, like, dude, within 100 miles of you, there's some ancient stones or something like that, and they're just sitting out there, with petroglyphs or something like that. Nobody knows anything about, and that's what makes your world feel huge and big. And also, you had your Star Wars bar scene in that, and you had this crazy celestial head, and you had a first real history of the Marvel universe. Told by the collector. That was one of the things I missed. Was I was hoping, and we got a little bit of it with Ego, but it was just Ego. I wanted to see more weird Marvel characters and how the universe is created. I know, I know how they're saving it for the Infinity War, and I think that's the main reason they didn't put. I think it was actually Marvel's orders to not, make this a Thanos thing, keep this an exclusive story.
James Gunn said he wanted Adam Warlock in this one, and he had to pull back, and that's why Adam Warlock is going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3,
which I can't wait for. And dude, they're going to be back next year, and they're going to be in 3 movies in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
So
that's exciting.
That's why we have those added Guardians. I'm very excited. I can't wait for Iron Man to meet, or for Tony Stark to meet Peter Quill. That's going to be badass. Even if
I can't wait to see Martin X, in action, and Charlie 27. I mean,
I hope we see it. I hope
Sylvester
we see
Stallone needs Here's the thing. I love Sylvester Stallone. I know his signature thing is his voice, right? He's also like a very built dude, but his voice, I had a hard time with him a little bit in this movie. I did. He I don't know. He came off as more like drunk than like strong boxer guy, I don't know. I had a little problem with I hope that he can deliver that character in a whole movie.
Well, the side of his face is paralyzed.
Yeah.
So
No, I know.
I thought his scene with Yondu kind of came off really well. Yeah. I thought I felt emotion when he said, do you think I have any pleasure exiling you at all? you know, and Michael Rosenberg, you know, nobody recognized him. Rosenbaum, Lex Luthor from Smallville, who was the best thing in it. It was nice to see him. And dude, I don't know, man. I can't wait to see it again. And you're right, opinions will change, and that's when you really feel like if a movie dragged. I actually felt that way about Doctor Strange. Seeing it a couple more times, it's still a really good movie, but it's not the greatest.
May I add Michelle Yeoh as Aletta?
Oh, God. Well, Michelle Yeoh is just awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome to see her. Yeah, I hope. I mean, dude, they can get whoever they want now. I mean, they can get Brad Pitt as the Silver Surfer or something like that. That'd be fucking awesome. And that's what I wanted to bring up is we're in the galactic universe now, and we're missing 2 huge characters, and the Fantastic Four. I mean, this is where the Marvel universe is going to miss the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who take us, they're the lost in space. They're the ones who take us through and relatable in this crazy, because like Marvel's got a crazy good galactic universe that not a lot of people know. I mean, when Civil War came out, the comic, Annihilation came out at the same time. And a lot of people said, and I agree with them, that Annihilation was better. It's not taking away from the classicness of Civil War, but you go read Annihilation and they tie in. They're actually, you know, there's a reason they wrote Annihilation was to keep the galactic characters out of the Civil War. So it just became an Earth Civil War. So they had to do something to tie up the galactic characters. So it was an afterthought to Civil War, and it turned out better. It did. And it brought us Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, this version of it came from Annihilation and that run, you know. So
I hope they introduce at some point Nova, where he like puts on the helmet and goes into space and becomes like the apprentice to Star-Lord, and like Star-Lord kind of takes him like Yondu took Star-Lord under his wing. Like I would love to see something like that. Like you're right. Without the Fantastic Four, you need some sort of human who ends up in a cosmic situation to kind of have the humanity. Like Star-Lord's a great character, but he's one guy. And
they had an opportunity. They had an opportunity when Ego was destroying all the worlds. The first thing I was thinking is, oh, what if they destroy Nova, you know, like the Nova world Nova Prime, and you can make that the origin of Richard Rider, and you can, and they still could. They
or
could
the kid, whoever the
like
new kid is. I like him too. But yeah,
they could still say they destroyed the Nova world, you know, later, and say it was Ego who destroyed it, and that's how you get Nova. You know, I don't know.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool.
I would love to.
Also, you got to remember, initially Ego was supposed to be the antithesis of Galactus. Galactus destroys worlds. Ego rebuilds worlds.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's interesting.
And I'm going to ask this question now because, I mean, Marvel could always get the rights back, and maybe it's in their plans. Maybe they have the rights back and they haven't told anybody yet. Nobody knows this shit, but it's going to leave, you know, you have a dead Celestial now who served a purpose in the universe.
He may be dead. He may be.
At the time, we think he's dead. They destroyed his brain.
Theoretically dead.
Yeah. Theoretically dead, and that leaves a vacuum. It's definitely going to lead into something with Thanos. Like,
so what stone is still missing?
Soul Gem, I believe.
Yes.
The Soul Gem.
They're going to find that on the James Brown world.
Well, I think
Dennis, that may have been the funniest joke you made on these podcasts.
What did he say? I didn't even hear it.
So they're going to find it on the James Brown world.
And the James. Oh, he didn't die. He just became a world, and it's just like his head, just like Ego. Actually, he's the new Ego. It's James Brown land. Oh my God. I'm a soul man. Except it's Eddie Murphy playing. Get Eddie Murphy to play him. James Brown, the Celestial.
So where do you?
It's brilliant.
Where do you guys think Guardians goes next? Do you think that it's all dependent on Infinity War and Infinity Gauntlet, or do you think that there's a story coming out of what we saw just in this movie?
Oh, there's definitely because with Infinity War, what you're going to have is, like Gary said, it's going to be Thanos' quest. It's not going to actually go into the war itself until I think they're going to have something called Infinity Gauntlet, is what they're going to call it, and that's where we're going to have Adam Warlock come in. I think they actually had to rethink it. That's why they rescheduled a few things. Now that I'm looking at things and how they've timed it, so we're gonna have Infinity War, which is Thanos' quest for the gems. We're gonna have Guardians of the Galaxy 3 right after that, and then I think we're gonna have Infinity Gauntlet, and that's when we're gonna have Thanos get the gauntlet, and you're gonna have Adam Warlock come in, and all that stuff ensues that's supposed to happen.
Well, I think what they're with Guardians of the Galaxy 3, for one, they're going to have to. It came out 3 years ago. They're going to have to push that to 2, and why not? Because you have them going back to film Infinity War anyway.
Yeah,
so
I don't
you
know.
could save tons of time by just filming it again. You know,
filming it back to back or side by side.
Back. And James Gunn is like what they do is they bring the people who are in charge of certain areas in. Like they brought James Gunn in to make sure they're doing the Guardians right. And so, I mean, he does like kind of co-direct scenes, and it's interesting how like well they play with each other for right now.
Yeah.
And Marvel does like exit people who don't play well in this playground. They get rid of them fast. And it's really interesting how they're good. I don't know. They're going to be fighting Adam Warlock. I guess that's what the big setup is. And we got Nebula, her story. It's almost like she should be the one to kill Thanos or try.
Yeah, I was wondering if she would show up after he's been weakened enough and just like stab him in the heart, like slit his throat, whatever. I hope so.
I think it's her right to kill him. I think,
or her and Gamora together.
Yes,
something like that. Yeah,
or
that'd be nice.
She actually kills Thanos, sacrificing her own life in the process to save Gamora.
That's probably
what would be full circle. That would be great. I would love to that. Even if you just predicted it, Dennis, like having that prediction in my mind, I would still be satisfied with that.
Oh, totally.
Like, that would be amazing. I would love to. I hope so.
Some Marvel characters aren't going to make. I mean, like Thanos is going to off some Marvel characters. There's no secret, and I think Vision's done too because he's got one of their. Well, anybody who's got a freaking gem attached to their body is dead. And that's Vision. And I think Captain America dies and comes back. I think that's kind of what happens. Chris Evans said he's in for the long haul. So
yeah. No, I think we're losing Tony Stark. I mean, we know Robert Downey is done. He's fine making his money on the back end of these movies from now on. So I think we lose Iron Man. I like your theory of losing Vision, or even like having Vision become Jarvis, or I don't know. We probably won't lose Bettany altogether. Maybe he becomes a real boy. I don't know, but that gem's going away.
I think
we're probably going to lose ScarJo, and like Hawkeye and Black Widow either have to go away or at least get phased out of this thing, because they're just not, those characters don't make much sense in this landscape anymore, quite honestly, in my opinion. But that's just me.
I definitely think Hawkeye dies, because he dies in the comics all the time. And I think ScarJo gets, I think Black Widow gets a power amp somewhere. I think somewhere she's going to get some extra powers. And Thanos is going to come down. Well, first thing, you got to hate him. You got to have a reason to hate him. Okay. So he's going to come down, kill some people we like, do some fucked up things, and win in the first movie. He's going to win. And I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing the Mad Titan. I hope they use this color palette. I'm really interested to see what the Russo brothers can do with sci-fi, because this is going to be a sci-fi movie. I mean, you're going into Guardians territory now.
Yep.
It'll probably start off it's supposed to be super galactic. Thor's going to set everything up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can tell you this much about Thor. If Thor is as good as it seems like it's going to be, like if the trailer is at all representative of the quality of that movie, then the raise that Chris Hemsworth has been asking for the last 2 movies, he's going to be able to demand that raise, or he's going to be gone. So he's another one of those legacy. Like, this whole original crew has been doing this for a long time now. And I think as long as Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth get their money, they should be. I think they love this, right? So I think as long as they're getting their paychecks, they're fine. I think Robert Downey's done. I don't see a need for the studio to pay ScarJo's salary anymore, because they've got a roster of characters. They don't need her name attached to this shit anymore. And it seems like Benedict Cumberbatch is, you've got this guy for whatever 5 or 6 movies. Like this, he has to be the core now. And you've got Black Panther to work with. So I feel like almost that whole original core can go away. and you've got Ant-Man, and you've got Hulk, and you've got all these great characters that you can still work with. So I don't know. I can see a lot of them going. Maybe not dying, but going.
Robert Downey Jr. will be the absolutely hardest to replace. He's his charisma, his time.
They're betting on Cumberbatch. Yeah, I agree with you though. I agree with you. I don't think there is another Robert Downey Jr. out there.
That's going to be hard to replace. We'll see. But
it looks good. It looks some role.
Guardians ends up being the worst Marvel movie this year. Marvel's in good fucking shape. Okay.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man looks pretty awesome, and Thor looks off the hook. I mean,
and Spider-Man they can kind of write off because it's not a real Marvel movie. It's Sony with their consulting. So, yep. I agree with you. I think, in fact, I would go as far to say if Guardians is the worst Disney movie we see this year, we're in good shape. Like I think we've got some Star Wars stuff coming up. I think we've got some. I think there's another animated movie coming out that's supposed to be pretty. So I think we're going to get a lot of good stuff out of Disney this year, and I'm not just saying that because I work there. I think that there's a lot of good things down the pike. Well, I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Has seen the worst Disney movie, she says, which was Beauty and the Beast. She thought it was Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, it was
terrible.
Bad. I didn't.
And it made $1 billion. So
what was? Sorry to go on a tangent, but what didn't she like about it?
She is questioning why we've had 2 movies that make a bunch of movie with actresses who can't sing, being La La Land and Beauty and the Beast. She said the singing in it was terrible.
Interesting. So. Okay.
So speculation time.
Yeah.
Who's the actor do you think that we're going to get to play Adam Warlock?
Ooh. Who would we want to see play Adam Warlock, or who do you think we're going to get play Adam Warlock?
Either one. Either way.
Both.
So can you describe his character traits from the comics a little bit? I'm not like I know
you've seen the Sovereigns. You've seen the Sovereigns being gold. So he has gold skin, blonde hair. And Gary's pulling up a picture right now. He's got a
Alexander Skarsgård.
No, he's fairly built too. He's very buff.
He looks like a Viking, right?
And not really. I mean, you got to remember the gold skin coloring. I'm gonna say either Brad Pitt for older version, or
I don't have it. I guess he's somewhere else. I got Son of Satan. Oh man, that'd be awesome to see Son of Satan.
Yeah, that would be kind of interesting. Or Jared Leto, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got the Joker. He's got enough on his plate right now.
I'm gonna the guy who was in Charlie Henry.
Charlie
he is very wooden.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But I think Brad Pitt would be, for when he's got to have like 70s feathered hair. Okay, that's like a really important trait with Adam Warlock. I'm sorry, I don't know where my Warlock. I have the entire run of Warlock somewhere behind me.
Oh, the guy who plays Iron Fist would actually be pretty good for that.
No, he's got his hair's too curly.
His hair's too curly.
Weedy hair.
It has to be like, think Kurt Russell's hair, but blonde.
Yeah, that's tough.
You know, back when he, you remember the de-aged Kurt Russell in this movie?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it's yeah, I think that was a total callback. By the way, sorry. It might. It's in the box. It's below. I'm not going to dig through it all, but y'all know what Adam Warlock looks like, and not the new version. Forget. I'm talking the one with wearing underoos, you know, with the big lightning bolt and the big weird demon head cape and everything. That's with gauntlets and you know. And
you actually had someone on our Doctor Who speculation list. The dude from Outlander. What's his name?
Oh, the guy who plays Jamie in Outlander. He'd be good. He'd be good.
Yeah.
He's got to be buff. Yeah, I think. I mean, they can really pick whoever the hell they want.
Yeah, they really can.
and they've casted pretty much half of Hollywood in their movies. So Charlie Henman is like the only one I could think of that's not in there, and he's blonde. I mean, like, you know, you don't need to get a blonde guy.
Chris
But
Pine.
they're worried about. They were talking about, you know, female characters in the Marvel universe and Captain Marvel. You've got two great ones with Nebula and Gamora. Those are two fabulous, fleshed
and
out
now Mantis
female characters. Mantis was good too.
Yeah,
she was cute. She was cute. But I mean, if you want to talk about superhero, like, you know what Mantis reminded me of is Starfire. She was Starfire from Teen Titans.
Yeah.
Exactly the same, except Starfire is like crazy powerful. Who kind of looks like Adam Warlock.
They also could bring in Moondragon as well.
Did they mention Moondragon? Well, I mean, I mean, that's Drax's daughter, right? I mean,
Drax's daughter, yeah. So I mean, so obviously they could bring her in as well.
Any girl who would look good bald, which is pretty much any girl. That would be, they got to bring in Moondragon.
Yeah, she's part of the Infinity and the Infinity crew.
You know, I always associate her with the Inhumans because when I was reading her, she was kind of passing in between the Defenders and the Fantastic Four when they were interacting and stuff. And she was an Avenger. She's been everywhere.
So I went online to kind of look at speculative Adam Warlock casting, and the ranker one where, you know, everyone ranks stuff. I just want to point out Alexander Skarsgård is number 1 on the list, and Charlie Hunnam is number 3 on the list.
And so I love Alexander Skarsgård. I think for one, that even makes more sense because his daddy's in the Thor movies, so, and the Avengers movie. So why not?
Matt Bomer. I like Matt Bomer. He was actually a front runner for Thor forever. He was. Yeah, I could totally see it. I could totally see that.
But he's very skinny.
Interesting. Anyway, so I just wanted to point out that Skarsgård and Hunnam, just off the top of our heads, are already kind of in that discussion.
There you go.
3. And Ewan McGregor's in there too, which I think is terrible.
Yeah, it's a horrible. Yeah.
Ewan McGregor will be a good Mr. Fantastic.
I was going to say it, but, you know.
He'd be a great Mr. Fantastic.
He would be a good Mr.
He would be.
Actually, David Tennant's still my choice for Mr. Fantastic. So,
but you know, actually, so Matt Smith would be an awesome Mr. Fantastic.
Matt Smith would be they both like lanky like guys, you know,
and just the absent-mindedness. He does it very well.
Totally.
But can he pull off? Because I know David Tennant can pull off a good American accent. Can Matt Smith do it? Because not everybody can do it.
I bet you he
could. Or make him English. F it. Make him English.
He did in Terminator Genesis, which is a horrible movie, by the way.
You don't want to bring that up. That's not a good example.
I didn't even know Matt Smith was in that. Well, guys, look, I'm really, really excited after seeing this movie. I went in with pretty tempered. Well, no, I think I went in there with like pretty reasonable expectations, and the movie met or exceeded all of them. I just to kind of recap my thoughts. I wish that the soundtrack had been a little bit better. However, I still think this is the prettiest movie, maybe next to Avatar, that I've ever seen. Like, just visually stunning, like dreamscapes and beautiful colors. Like, I just feel like they did a great job visually, and I think that every character had their moment, and every actor made their character great. So I think Baby Groot could have been, you know, BB-8, and he had even more than that to him. And I thought that Yondu and Drax kind of stole the show most of the time. So I don't know. There was a lot to like about this movie, and I can't wait to watch it again.
Me neither. What a rare consensus here at the Nerdrotic podcast.
And I want to say I like the soundtrack, by the way. I thought
it was still good.
Yeah, I thought it was a little more adult this time around than the previous one. The previous one was just a little too. It was fun, but it was just I can't listen to it repeatedly.
That's fair. That's fair. For me, it's less the songs they chose, even though there is a little piece of it that's that, and it's more like how they integrated the music into the first movie was so creative.
Yes,
and they kind of
on that. Yeah,
I don't like Cat Stevens.
I just want to say
I've never liked folky music. I've just never liked it. I'm sure he's a very talented guy, whatever his name is now. But
Oh, Cat Stevens.
Never liked folky music.
Well, the next one's going to be 80s. We had 60s, 70s, and now the next one should be 80s.
Oh,
so that'll
I can't wait for that. But I hope it's just not typical 80s music. I hope he digs deep because that's what he does. He
does.
Yeah.
Like and like, you know, ELO. I even mentioned. Remember we talked about like what's the next soundtrack? I knew they would do ELO. I was kind of thinking. I was hoping for a different song, but Mr. Blue Sky is still good. And
Glenn
George
Campbell.
Harrison.
Southern Nights.
Oh hell yeah, that was cool.
Awesome. That was an awesome song.
That's like you know what? It's all S. James Gunn and we're all the same age, so this is all crap our parents played. So or we heard on the radio in our cars, And but yeah, hearing George Harrison, I know that's like one of the bigger names, but like when they're going over Ego, the Planet, that was cool. That was amazing. So
and in the credits, Flashlight by George Clinton and the P-Funk All-Stars.
Oh hell yeah,
that was awesome.
Can never go wrong with that. That's good shit. Bringing the funk. And then David Hasselhoff doing
his rap.
Oh yeah, and David Hasselhoff's in this movie.
Yeah, so good.
Which is hilarious, dude.
His ideal father.
All right.
Oh man.
See, Dennis, what else? So you were cool with the soundtrack. Other final thoughts for you?
Well, of course, like I said, adolescent Groot, which was hilarious, and I just want to say Trash Panda.
Yeah.
Yes, that was great.
Hey, is that better? No, it's so much worse. So much worse.
That was actually the probably most I laughed. That was the funniest scene. What about you, John? Did you give your favorite thoughts, John, already? Did I miss these?
I already did mine. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to sum up my thoughts on the movie. How about you, Gary? What are your just to sum up probably what you said?
I freaking loved it. I loved the sister stuff.
That too,
most. And Nebula and Gamora's scenes were rad. Karen Gillan, just freaking loved her. And Peter Quill, the Peter Quill scene with Yondu and the whole dad thing gets to me every time. Like dad shit, my dad passed away 15 years ago. So like, I was talking, the friend I was with had just lost his grandma. So anything family was getting emotional to him. Sorry, I'm not going to call you out, Tim, for being a big fat crier in the movie because you were.
I was too.
But I'll admit,
I got some dust in my eye. That was
after my papa. Dennis has lost a papa too. And this like. After the first couple of years, any movie you see that says the word dad, you're like a puddle of water on the floor. So now great emotional scenes. Well done. Not cheesy. Another favorite scene was, and it was a little scene and it was super emotional when why do I keep forgetting her fucking Mantis touches Drax and she feels the pain of his daughter's loss.
Yeah.
And she just immediately starts crying. I was just like, whoa. That was cool, and I hope
and it showed how strong Drax is to hold it together all the time when he's thinking about those things. And that was crazy.
No, and it humanized the alien in a way that was just that. Yeah, that I mean, little stuff like that. James Gunn is so fucking talented. This kid's got a future in Hollywood.
Well, and exactly. That moment was the moment that brought Mantis over to their side, right? That's when she decides to tell him, "Hey, Ego's not a good guy." So it was such a strong. You're right. It was so short, but it was such a strong moment, both in the emotionally and just in the context of the story of this movie.
And also, I think one of my favorite Drax lines, besides the whole learning how to lie now, suddenly he's learning how to lie, but the whole thing about describing his wife. When I saw her at the war party, she was the other one not dancing.
She didn't dance. She didn't move.
It was as if she were dead.
You would have thought she was dead.
Melodic song, and she would not tap her foot, not even once. You wouldn't even know she was alive.
He was so good. He was so good. This movie, I was shocked at how good Drax was in this, and he didn't have one. I can't think of a badass scene he had. Jumping into the thing, but he was an idiot to jump into the monster at the beginning. He never had a big. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he didn't have the Gamora picking up the cannon and firing it at the thing moment in this movie. Yet he stood out because he was so funny and so good. His job in the final scene was to carry Mantis to the ship. Like that's all he did.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I
but it was,
love the track.
that part was. I mean, people can complain all they die, but like his last moment in life could have been of just trying to hold her up. You know,
Yeah.
like if all I do is save her, then I'm good. That was rad. I don't know.
Yes.
And I projected a bunch of shit into it, but he's probably, he's probably thinking of his daughter at that point, although there was like supposedly sexual tension, but the whole, like, you're ugly. At least you're beautiful on the inside.
On the inside.
No, I love when he's talking about, my father always told us the story of how he, I'm paraphrasing, fucked my mother every winter solstice. Impregnated my mother. It was a beautiful tale. And honestly, it is. I mean, like,
you humans have so many hangups. Or you Earthies have so many hangups. Oh god.
Matter of fact, this Christmas,
Yeah,
I'm going to tell Logan that he was conceived in the Honda Element after an unwritten law show.
God.
See how he feels about that.
Beautiful story.
Oh, that back seat you have both sat in. Oh, tell it like it is here.
Dang.
That's why you haven't sold that car yet.
No, as a matter of fact, that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Remind me never to sit in that back seat ever again.
Just don't lick the seats, Dennis.
I have never done that.
No. Chris Ortiz is thrown up back there too. He got car sick. I made him clean it up. Such a
hey,
gap,
Chris,
man.
if you're out there, we're going to be calling you to do some of these shows with us.
Yeah,
so
we love you, man.
Yeah.
All right,
cool, man. Well, yeah. Well, want to lead us out, Dennis?
Sure. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, America.
May the small folks sing songs of your greatness.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Bye, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Cheers.
Yay.